Well, today's episode, as you know, this is part one of Tuesday Wrestling. However, these are reviews from the much recent events of this month of October. So we have Sealing with October 5th. Now, this particular event features a one-day tournament to crown a brand new Beyond the Sea champion. As you know, Arisa Nakajima had to relinquish the title due to the fact she got injured last month. But now we're going to see who is going to be crowned. 10 women have been selected. 5 were put up in different brackets. So we'll see how going out. And of course, we got a three-way high-speed elimination match, and the Beyond the Sea tag team titles are also on the line. We're also going to review the two matches involving in Stardom for the Korakuen Hall. This one is the I think the opening rounds of the IWGP Women's Championship match. We have Momo Watanabe taking on Mayu Iwatani, and we got Utami Hayashida taking on Himeka. So who will walk out on those? Even though we already discussed the winner, I feel we got to review that. And then finally, we got the latest GLEAT show, G Pro Wrestling version 36, with some interesting surprises. Apparently, Bulk Orchestra has a new member, but I don't know if he's good with the welcome mat, but we'll find out. But also, we got some news updates. We're going to follow up with the recent news update alert with Marika Kobashi, more on the Unagi wash, and of course, a new development on Mei Suruga's excursion outside of Japan. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, let's begin with Sealing with October 5th that took place on October 19th at Korakuen Hall. This one was in fact a one-day tournament to crown a brand new Beyond the Sea champion. Now keep in mind, about a month or two ago, the previous champion, Arisa Nakajima, had to relinquish the title due to the fact that she got injured in a non-title match against Hiroyo Matsumoto. So basically, this was a very decision that she had to make, realizing she had to relinquish the title no matter what. So Sealing's management made the decision to crown a brand new. So they selected 10 women. 5 were posted in separate brackets, bracket A and bracket B, as you want to call it. So let's start with that right now, with that tournament. The first match we have Ayame Sasazu, hold on. Ayame Sazamura taking on Hiroto Matsumoto. Now this is a good match because it has a little bit of the a powerhouse type versus a little bit of the high speed. But you probably ask yourself, high speed has it written down, but nope. I felt like it was Hiroto Matsumoto who had it. She's a very time one of those popular freelance wrestlers I definitely can follow. But she ended this with a backdrop suplex. 1, 2, 3. She advances. Next up, we got Riko Kaiju taking on Amazon. Now, Amazon, she's a big, tall woman, but she has to face a much capable high speedster. We're talking about Riko Kaiju. I've seen how Riko Kaiju can pull up, but she picked up an amazing win. I did not anticipate. I would have assumed Amazon would have been the one to pick up the win, but no. She actually pulled off a beautiful roll up on her. 1, 2, 3. Riko Kaiju advances. Next up, we got Misa Kagura, who people like to refer to as the clone of Tam Nakano, taking on Ryu Mizunami. Now, you guys probably know it has to be Ryu Mizunami that walks in. Yeah, I feel like she is the most popular one because she's done it all. But it was that big lariat that sealed the deal for her when she lariat Misa. 1, 2, 3, it's done. Now our final match. This one was a rather interesting one. We have Yu versus Hanako Nakamori. This match was insane. They tried everything in their power to take each other out, try to do pinfall submissions, everything possible. But however, the match ended in a time limit draw, lasting 10 minutes. However, because of a time limit draw, both women were eliminated out of the tournament. So that means whoever had the bye has to wait until the next match. And I think that one had involved with, of course, in the second round with Riko Kaiju and Hiroyo Matsumoto. Now we'll get to that in a bit. So our next match is the high speed elimination match with referee Tatsuyi Nito. Nito, whatever, Taiyo, I think that's her name. Anyway, as you know, the high speed is a much faster pace. So we have um, Yurika Oka, Kageru Sekiguchi, and um, Coyote Yoneyama. Now, this is a very fast pace because apparently the one person who's a much bigger threat, everybody knows who's the master of high speed. That is Coyote Yoneyama. She's been known for that. But it was of course Yoneyama picked up both wins by eliminating first uh, Yurika Oka. She pinned her 1, 2, 3, and then of course once again she did. But however, before the next elimination, Kageru Sekiguchi tried to submit Yoneyama, but it was no good. Apparently, that did not help. But apparently, Yoneyama was able to get out of there but picked up a good win against Sekiguchi, winning the match. So basically, the high speed veteran won this match. Now our next match is continuing with the Beyond the Sea title tournament. In the second round, we have Riko Kaiju taking on Hiroyo Matsumoto. And I thought this match also went with the same kind of result, but the only difference is it was Riko Kaiju who's trying to use a little bit more high speed, but of course you got power with Matsumoto. But it was of course another type of backdrop suplex that sealed the deal for Matsumoto and won the match by pinfall. But however, she had to stay in the ring because she was involved in the semifinals. She had to face Riko Kawahara. Now, Riko Kawahara, I've always seen her come out, dance right in the middle of the ring before the start of the bell, but she made a beeline as soon as she introduced herself, and then all of a sudden, straight to Matsumoto. Now, keep in mind, Matsumoto already had been through hell with her first match, her second match so far, so she could be exhausted. So Riko Kawahara tried everything, but once again, it was a double knee to the abdomen when she lifted her up in a type of suplex style, but boom, right in the knee. It sealed the deal for her to advance into the finals. Now, our second semifinal, we have Ryu Mizunami taking on Atsuki Aoki. Now, keep in mind, you and what's her name? Nakamori were eliminated, so that means Izuki Aoki had a bye, so she faces Ryu Mizunami in the finals. I thought, but this match sounded more like a big time feud between them, but they were going back at it, back and forth, back and forth, until finally it was a pinfall by Aoki to win the match. So she advances to the finals, and she will be facing Hiroyo Matsumoto. Now, our semifinal main event, we have the Beyond the Sea tag team titles. We have the members of Colors, Yuko Sakurai and Saki, teaming up for the first time. They take on La Fresas de Ogaistas, consisting of Asuka and Makoto. Now, I did mention a while ago that this is the first time I ever seen Yuko Sakurai teaming up with Saki. Normally, she teams up with Rina Mikura, and Saki teams up with Hikari Shimizu. But however, as you know, Hikari Shimizu is in Mexico, competing for the Grand Prix. Hopefully, I get to see matches of that, but we'll see what happens. But they normally targeted Yuko Sakurai because she has a little bit more less experience than Saki, but she can hold her own, as you know, because Saki has 10 years of experience, Yuko only has 5 years. But these other ladies, they have more experience than her. So they tried everything to separate them, but however, it was a moonsault by Asuka that finished off Yuko 1, 2, 3 to retain the titles. Now our main event is for the Beyond the Sea Championship in the finals of the tournament. We have Itsuki Aoki versus Lady Destroyer Hiroyo Matsumoto. Man, this match was insane. You know that this is where everybody puts everything on the line, but in this one it was of course Hiroyo Matsumoto with the backdrop suplex that sealed the deal in for her to become the next Beyond the Sea champion. So congratulations. I'm happy with the results. But it's kind of weird that, it was, if you kind of notice, I did mention it was Matsumoto responsible for Arisa Nakajima to get hurt. But I think she's putting that behind her, knowing that she may feel responsible, but she has to keep pushing forward as their champion. So we'll see what happens then. I know the next event will take place soon, and we'll go from there. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's move on to Stardom. Okay, now I did mention this before. I haven't seen the October 22nd Stardom event that features in Korakuen Hall. Two of the matches were involving the IWGP Women's Championship tournament in the opening rounds. Now, they did have other matches, but I don't know why they didn't put it, but they decided to put this one like it was important. So we have our first match, Himeka versus Utami Ayashida. Now, this would I think Himeka did beat Utami in the 5-star, but this will put Utami to the test, knowing that she has to make up for certain losses she had in the 5-star Grand Prix. But she put up a hell of a fight no matter what. She knows she's competing against a much bigger individual. Because you guys seen how Himeka, she's tall as hell. But it doesn't stop her right there. But it did took a while for her. It took every stomp, every punch, every submission, anything possible. However, could Utami Ishida pull off the hijack bomb that could be the seal the deal for her to advance? Well, she did. She went by that. However, she has to pay attention to who will be facing. She'll be facing at the semifinals on that took place the following day. So that match was between Momo Watanabe versus the icon Mayu Iwatani. Now, this match I knew was going to be good for a few reasons. Now keep in mind, Oda Tai are sick and tired of Mayutani. They spent a long time torturing her, making fun of her, telling her, haha, we got your friends with us. But it did not stop her. Everything they did, for example, Ruka using that suitcase, that did not work. Nothing that she did. Even Stars tried to intervene to stop Oda Tai from getting themselves involved. But however, I think the best move was in fact, of course, a 3 jump poison Rana onto Momo Watanabe. I did not expect that. And that was the biggest win ever for her. But of course, Momo cannot believe it. She was beside herself. She was livid that she cannot believe that everything they did to beat the crap out of her to ensure she advances failed. But keep in mind, I did mention in the next round, she has to face someone she lost to for the red belt, and that is, of course, Utami Ayashida. So that is pretty well recorded. But I didn't mention she won that match. But what I didn't realize, the two competitors that were not able to go in this match, Tam Nakano and Sudi, were watching in the balcony, watching the matches. Now you probably can guess, oh man, that sucks. But I wouldn't be surprised if one of those two ended up facing the winner of the IWGP Women's Championship on January 4th at Wrestle Kingdom. That would be nice to watch. But we'll see what happens then. So, yeah. So that's pretty much what I got for this. I believe it's time for GLEAT. Okay, GLEAT with their latest event, G Pro Wrestling version 36. Now, it opened up with Bulk Orchestra coming out, except for Kazuma Sakamoto. I don't know why he wasn't there. But they introduced their newest member, Kato Ishida, who was recently a free agent from Dragon Gate. Here's the thing. I don't know what they were thinking of recruiting him, but he doesn't seem like he's having a little fun. I look at Ishida like he's all dead serious, all business. Now, Bulk Orchestra, they are one of the most dominant units in GLEAT, but they also throw in a bit of a comedy routine. So that doesn't fit well for him. But it appears some is eyeing on this, and that is the members of course, Strongheart, consistent of El Lindaman, our current G-Rex champion, and of course, Onitsuka. So basically, I have that distinct feeling that Ishida wants the title that El Lindaman has. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, but we'll see what happens. Now, our opening match, we have 60 seconds. We got Keishi Sato, and to my surprise, their newest member of 60 seconds, Oji Shiba. Now, I have seen him previously, but I did not anticipate that they're going to expand new members. So I say he's a good fit. But their opponents is Soma Watanabe and, of course, Shigehiro Iri of Strong Hearts. This one looks more all about, of course, Iri picking up the win due to the fact that he used his powerhouse maneuver, the cannonball, but also he used a nice timing lariat onto Shiba to pick up the win. Now our next match we have Jun Tonsho of 60 seconds versus Strong Hearts member T-Hawk. This was a brutal match. I mean, Tonsho really took it to the max with T-Hawk. Now, you probably say T-Hawk would have been the one to win completely. I would agree, but it was Tonsho who actually showed a lot of maneuvers. Now, the other units consider 60 seconds as the weakest of all the units there, unlike Borg Orchestra and Strong Hearts. So I had to say Tonsho picked up a good fight, but it was T-Hawk with a submission that sealed the deal for him to pick up the win. Now, our next match, we have a UWF Rules Tag Team match. Team number one, we have Tetsuya Izushi of 60 Seconds teaming up with Seiki Ikemoto, taking on Minoru Tanaka and Yu Izuka. Now, this particular match, I can tell you, it's pretty good. However, did not anticipate that Izushi was going to pick up the win by knockout when he took out Izuka 1, 2, 3, all the way to 10. He was out. So, Izushi and Ikemoto picked up the good win. Now, that does not end there with the UWF rules. We have the women's taking over. We have Miya Fukuda, regular down with GLEAT, taking on Sendai Girls Mika Iwata. This was a very interesting match because I know Maya Fukuda has been trying to prove herself, trying to pick up a good win, but however, it did not go exactly according to plan. That it ended with a 10 count. She couldn't get up, but I feel like Mika Iwata was trying to get her to get up, but Fukuda did not like the call. But I wouldn't be surprised if that match continues. So Mika Iwata won the match, but I wouldn't be surprised if Maya Fukuda wants a rematch on that. Now, our next match is a singles match. We have, once again, Tetsuya Izushi taking on Quiet Storm of Bulk Orchestra. Now, you probably can guess that this match will fall into favor of Quiet Storm because the dude is a freaking nightmare, a big beast. But 60 seconds, they have a faster pace. But to my surprise, I did not anticipate Izushi to pick up the win the way he did. So it was a good win by him. And I'm sure Quiet Storm did not like that. So now, before we proceed to our next match, GLEAT received a surprise message from Flamita telling him he's making his return to Japan with GLEAT, but he will not be alone. He's bringing his teammate from Black Generation or Black Generacion, Yutani. You may know him. He's the Japanese resident in Mexico who's been involved in many wrestling promotions down in the independents. He'll be coming with of course, Black Flamita. I would have thought that Flamita would be a perfect fit with Bork Orchestra, but it seems like he's probably not interested. I wouldn't be surprised if he's bringing Black Generation into this, but yes, that's what happens. No telling, but I will figure that out when it comes in. Now, our next match is a 6-person intergender tag match. We have um, Michiko Miyagi teaming up with Kaz, Hayashi, and Shima to take on Bork Orchestra members Check Shimatani, Kawakami, and of course Diana's founder, Kyoko Inoue. This match, I thought it was great. I was really impressed with how they were able to intertwine intergender matches in this one. But however, it was Inoue who misfired onto Check when he was holding, of course, Miyagi down and ended in a inside cradle by Miyagi onto Check Shimatani, picking up the win. But however, in the post match, it appears that I don't know if that's the phrase what they're trying to do. There was no translation, but to my the way I viewed the body language, the way they were spoken, I wouldn't be surprised if Michiko Miyagi wants to have an intergender match against Check Shimatani. It looks like Check Shimatani doesn't want to, but uh, everybody's looking up. You're a coward. I took Arana on a match, and she didn't back down. So it's true. Shima did beat her, but why can't Check Shimatani does that? But we'll see what happens. Now our next match, we have the Strong Hearts Onitsuka teaming up with El Lindaman, our current G-Rex champion, to take on Bulk Orchestra Kaito Ishida and Ruchi Kawakami, who was already there. I thought this match was pretty good because it showed that Ishida is very serious. He's not here to play games. Now, I know Kawakami likes to throw in a bit of, can get serious in the ring, but outside there, when he's not wrestling, he can throw in a bit of the comedy. But this time, there was a bit of a misfired by Ishida, but he was able to pick up the win by applying a German suplex onto Onitsuka, giving the win. But however, I don't know for sure. But like I said, I don't know if in the post match, if Ishida is demanding a title shot for the G-Rex by El Lindaman. That's something I know for a fact Ishida wants to have. He wants to make a name for himself. But we'll just gotta wait and see until the next G Pro Wrestling event. So I'll be keeping an eye on that. But I think that's pretty much it what we got with GLEAT. So let's move on with news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. Now, if you guys remember previously, I put out a news update alert regarding Joshi wrestler Marika Kobashi, who has just returned to wrestling. However, more information has come into light about her decisions going to PPP Tokyo, which is a local promotion in Tokyo, Japan. Now, it turns out that if you guys want to recap what's going on, a while back they announced for an upcoming event called Duel for Venus, where we have a tag team match, team number one featuring Rina Yamashita and Shantoya taking on Surimi Natsu and a mystery partner. No one knew who it was. People speculated it was Unagi, but later it was revealed to be Marika Kobashi. Now, the thing is, I overlooked something that I did not mention on the news updates. As you know, I mentioned this that I had been following on her social media. She actually Marika Kobashi went to Surimi Natsu's bar that she owns, and they were hanging out. So I kind of forgotten about that. I don't know if Marika was talking to her about this, if she want about her return. But however, you probably ask yourselves, I did mention she did graduate from Tokyo Show Pro Wrestling, but it turns out she has been in discussions with them because of her to make her come back as a wrestler and have a fresh start, like post Tokyo Show Pro. So whatever they discussed, they approved the idea of her going to another location. But however, she did mention she wants to study abroad outside of Japan. Like she's planning to come here to the States and wrestle. So, but first she wants to get her feet wet in Japan, back in Japan before coming here, and that's understandable. So basically, we will be seeing that first. So I don't know what other matches she'll be competing, but the obvious question does remain: how much ring rust does she has? Now, keep in mind she stopped wrestling since April. I know she's been working out. That is still undetermined, but we will see when that match comes around. Hopefully, they put that on YouTube because they're not going to put it right away. They'll probably give it maybe a week, 2 weeks, or three. I don't know, but we'll see. Now, the Unagi Sayaka watch. Now, as you guys know, um, Unagi ended up going to Marvelous to call out the wrestlers of Marvelous, consistent with Takumi Iroha, Maria, everybody else who was there. So her first match in Marvelous was against Ai Hosen, who has a bit of a chip on her shoulder. She acts like she's a big tough girl despite of her size. But apparently, just to spoiler alert, she won that match. But looks like someone decided to step up the challenge to be her next assessment, and it turned out to be Maria, who's a bit of a hothead, cocky little girl. But that match may take place on the 17th. I'm not 100% sure, but it appears that another wants to have a crack at her, and that is veteran Chikayo Nagashima. So basically, she wants another piece of her. But the good news about this, her being in Marvelous, it turns out that Unagi Sayaka's merch sold out quickly. This is the same kind of thing that happened in Diana. So it looks like people are now following her where she goes. If or fans from whatever region they're from and they're here to see Unagi, they know where to go. But I also heard that the founder of Marvelous, Shigusa Nagayo, is going to play the role as mentor while she's appearing in Marvelous and probably help her out what matches she'll be participating in. So we'll see about that. And finally, our last update, Mei Suruga. As you guys know, she's currently on excursion. She just went to the U.S., participated in several matches with AEW with on Dark, and of course we had DPW where she faces Emi Sakura, and she just recently, right now, currently is in Mexico participating in the CMLL Grand Prix. However, a news development come in from that. It turns out that Mei Suruga is going to have another excursion for 2 days outside of Japan, but she'll be heading to Singapore. Yes, folks, Singapore. There she'll be heading to Singapore. If you guys have been aware, Got to Move has done various shows down in Singapore in the past before they established themselves even more in Japan. So it's still no determined. This is part of the astronomical anniversary show. I think that's what they're gonna do. It will be on November 24th and 25th. No determine who will be her opponent, but I'll be staying apprised to that. So I think that's pretty much it right now with our news updates. I believe it's time to call it a day. Well, that completes part one, me reviewing SEAdLINNG, Stardom, and of course, GLEAT. So our next episode will feature the actual Tuesday Wrestling, which is going to be NWA Power Surge, Velvet After Dark. I don't know what's gonna be. I wouldn't be surprised if she gets all sexy and that creep Austin Out shows up and ruins the party once again. I don't know. And of course, we have AEW Dark. And keep in mind, this one features Jungle Kiona. If you guys are big fans of Jungle Kiona, you don't want to miss it. You can see it for free on YouTube. And of course, we deal with the fallout after Halloween Havoc on NXT. And if there's any more news updates, I will put those as well. So, I'll see you guys on the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.